Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Yak East. Uh, Quick update. Not much going on. Yeah, fishing is a little bit on the slow side for me, at least. There are some trout stocking going on in our local waters. I haven't really had the opportunity to chase that down, but I've actually been just doing some more. I had some personal stuff going on that I gotta take care of to be fresh for the season. So just some medical, some checkups and stuff like that. But all in all, I'm healthy. I'm good. So, but yeah, I did actually have the opportunity to get on the water just not too long ago to try out my Mirage Drive after I fixed it. All good there. So my repairs are good, solid. So no concerns there. I did actually want to create a video of my repair kit, just because of the conditions or the situations that I fell into with my Mirage breaking. So I'll have a video coming out with that of like what I carry with me as a backup, I guess a repair kit just in case, especially as I'm getting into these tournaments. I don't want to be left stranded. So I am putting a repair kit together just to have spare parts and whatever else with me whenever I'm going to these tournaments. But all in all, this update is actually we're getting into that season of stocking up your gear. I know that I probably will buy more stuff, but I want to do a quick update on the stuff that I bought last year and also just kind of get into some of the new stuff that I'm getting just based on, I guess, the new experiences I had this past year. So first things first, obviously with my hog trough, with my yak gear, uh, I even forget what it's called, the yak gear hog trough that I had, the folding one. That one, I do have a review up. I love it, but obviously it has little things that I got to try out to just try to make it work a little better because I had a little bit of an issue with it. And you guys can check that video. I'll put it somewhere on the screen here. Um, but the other thing that I tried out last year was actually I got a new fish finder, the Lowrance Hook 5 Reveal. I love it. I like it. It might be user error, but I noticed a couple things with it. I noticed that the screen flashes a lot, especially when the battery runs low. So I feel like I might have to use a larger battery than what I did with the Hook 4. So that's one issue that I have with it. But the other issue that I'm getting pretty regularly now, but it says it loses GPS signal or something of that nature. It loses signal, so it's disconnected from my plotter or something like that. So I, I I've never had that issue before with other fish finders. I'm having it with this. Maybe it's something that I'm doing. I tried to do some quick searches on it. I couldn't find any solution. If you guys are able to tell me what I'm doing wrong or what might be happening, or maybe it's just a faulty thing that happens with these hook reveals, um, let me know. Comment below and just maybe you guys can help me out because I'm having issues with it. It works fine generally speaking. So it's not like I can't use it the way I normally would. But obviously, if I'm losing like the was it the chart plotting and stuff like that, I've paid for a function on this fish finder that I really can't even use. So hopefully that's not the case, and hopefully it's just me messing up somewhere. So if you guys can help me out with that, that'd be awesome. Let me know. Comment below. Maybe even just send me a link, or I don't know, so that I could just have no issues with that. Other than that, I think all the other gears that I used last year was obviously like I had various jig heads like the trout fish eye, the red fish eye, and just some like mustad hooks, the tog hooks. I had a variety of stuff. I mean, you guys could check that review out. Everything worked great. The only thing that I kind of found was that for everything was good and I used it and I loved everything. The Tog Tamer Mustad uh, Tog jig heads, I like them. I remember I mentioned that it was actually very cheap, so that's why I got them, at least for what I could get it at the time. But I did realize that the benefits of getting the bottom sweeper jigs that a lot of people use. I noticed that the Tog Tamer jig, the hooks are very big. So especially when I was going for the sheep's head, it was not. I don't think it was the best. Like I could not. I think that it was the hook was too big. So like I don't know. Maybe it was just I was just catching the small ones and I wasn't catching big ones like Jay was, but I felt like the bottom sweeper jigs were a little bit better. I did use some knockoff ones, um, and that didn't prove to be very good either. The hooks were just were junk. The bottom sweeper jigs I did actually like. I actually felt like I had more solid hooks later on when I was using those. So that was one of the new items that I used that I didn't really review. But yeah, the tog tamers are great for tog. I feel like, but when it came down to sheep's head and just trying to keep it there, down flat, with where there's a little bit less current, I guess you could say, I felt like the bottom sweepers were a little bit better in that sense. So, um, heavier weight, smaller hook. So that's why I kind of like that. Uh, but yeah, other than that, like I think yeah, everything else worked good. Everything was great. So this year, moving into this year, um, it actually starts in my videos last year. I mean, like the new experience that I had last year was fishing the backwaters, the inshore, the flats, the grass flats, Eastern Shore. That was, I think, probably one of my highlights and the best experience I had in a long time. It was actually like I mentioned before many times. Like it was waters that I had never fished for. I was kind of blown away by how exciting, how fun it was. I mean, obviously in my mind, I was always chasing like what tog and like deep water fish, but man, those grass flats and just nailing those sea trout, just that possibility of running into a big red. I mean, it was exciting. It was a thrill. It was a lot of fun. But with that being said, going to this year, I want to expand my experiences there and try to dig down a little bit more into those waters. So I did try to get more gear related to that. Um, I'll just kind of touch on a few things here. It's not a whole lot, but one of the things that I kind of what I did use last year, but I'm gonna try a different brand this year is actually the Owner twist locks. I like these or I'm thinking that I'm gonna like these a little bit better than the Owner the Mustad ones that I used last year because the little spring lock, it actually has a peg in the middle, so it allows it to kind of stay center. I noticed that when I was twisting the Mustad ones, it was just kind of it tended to go crooked or even not even going right. So I'm hoping that these help out with just keeping it center when I'm screwing it in a little bit better. I got these in a variety of weights: 16th, 8th, and a quarter. Um, Quick touch on these style hooks, the weighted wide gap hooks. I'm loving it. I did not use them quite as much. I've used the non-weighted ones for like frogs and stuff for snakehead and whatnot, but I'm loving how the action of the paddle tail. Yeah, I'm loving the action of the paddle tail with these. I noticed that you'll even see it in one of my tournament videos where I was unhooking a fish and I just had one of the paddle tails that I'll show you here, my secret bait from the tournament. But it was just sitting in the back, but it's just it allows the paddle tail to or the bait to fall flat as opposed to with the jig head where it will kind of fall head first. So I think it was just sitting naturally, and with the way the Z-Man lures are, they're a little bit more buoyant. And with the light weight, it almost suspends, so it allows us to kind of sit there flat a little bit more. And I think with that and just my little drift, it was actually able to attract the fish. So I'm loving how it keeps the bait even and allows it to just kind of stay in that strike zone a little bit longer, I feel like. So I'm liking these. I did get some that are a little bit heavier to try to fish a little bit more deeper water, just to give it a shot. So I'll see how that goes for that. But the lighter weights on the flats, with on the grass weed lines and stuff, I absolutely love these. I'm going to be using these a lot more everywhere, no matter what I'm fishing for, I think. So I'm really liking these here. Um, with that being said, since I like these, I try to find ones with smaller hooks because I do use smaller paddle tails. But the thing is that all of them seem to be right around the 3/0 range, the hook size. So I could not find one that had smaller hooks. One thing that I did come across was the Z-Man Texas Eye Finesse heads, Finesse jig heads. So it is a little unique in that the weight of the the weight is actually separated by that little eye there. So it does keep it separate, so it allows a lot more play in the lure. So it's not like a typical JK where it's just stuck. But the main thing is that the hook is actually a 1/0, and the weight of the JK is like a tenth of an ounce. So I think that I'm going to be using this a lot for the smaller paddle tails, whether it be for smallies or even for just even I guess even if I'm fishing for flounder or something like that and closer to shore a little bit. But yeah, I'm liking that it has a smaller hook, so I'm gonna give these a shot. I've never used these segmented jig heads before, but people like them, so I'm gonna give it a shot and see how it goes. But I did just get a whole bunch, a few packages of these because of the smaller hook mainly. So I'll give them a shot and see how they go for me, and I'll share with you my honest opinion on that. Now going to some of the plastics, not jumping into the other ones, but my secret bait yet. But I did use last year the Slam Shady 2.0s. It's actually made by the Salt Strong Insider Club. I do have a membership with them. I mean, I'll if you guys want me to talk about that later, but I feel like it's a great club, great information. You can learn a lot from them, but I do feel like it's not kind of focused in our area. But you could use their lessons pretty much anywhere. So it is purely a learning tool. I think that it is actually worthwhile. But all the community and stuff like that they say they talk about there, I think it's more geared towards like the Floridas and some of the more main areas. The Mid Atlantic, I feel like there's a little bit of lacking information there. Maybe if we all join, we could build it up. I don't know, but at least in the Mid Atlantic, I feel like it's a little bit lacking in that community aspect, that the way they kind of sell it. But yeah. Anyhow, I got the pink color. The other one was the Slam Shady color. Slam Shady 2.0 is the Slam Shady color. It's like that white with gold silver flakes. It's almost like an off-white color. I'll show you some of the other ones, the other baits that I got in that color. But I got the pink this time because just depending on the water clarity, I do want a little bit of variety. And I do like the pink colors. So I'll use that in maybe slightly more the murkier kind of, like, I guess, waters where I need a little bit more flash or flare. Some of these other baits that I got are some of these other baits that I got and I'm gonna get into is, you've already seen the diesel minnows. This is a very popular, but I actually just got the Slam Shady color in the 4-inch size and the 3-inch size. Actually, the 4-inch size, and then the 3-inch. It's just the standard Minnow Z. I think it's just the size difference. I forget what exactly is different, but I believe it's just the size difference, to be honest. I could be wrong, but I don't see a whole lot of difference. One thing to note with these, I've actually used them a lot last year, but especially the larger size. But what I really liked is that the little dorsal fin on these paddle tails are actually split. It's actually a double dorsal fin. So when you actually stick your twist locks or any kind of these wide gap hooks, if you set it right between those dorsal fins, it's actually weedless. You don't have to tuck it back into the plastic to make it weedless. So that's actually a unique feature of this bait here, of the Minnow Z's, diesel or regular Minnow Z's. So I like that. Someone actually told me that if they set the jig head get a little bit more meat on the jig head, it actually allows it to be a little bit more weedless as well. But I personally don't like the idea of that because the jig head is not going to push up like a wide gap would. So I would rather have a little bit more of the hook point exposed so that I can get a proper hook set. But that, once again, that's just me. So I did get these in varying sizes, 4-inch, 3-inch. So the secret bait, I really came to love it. I mean, I know that the 5-inch diesel minnows were a hot bait for the people that I was fishing with last year. But I actually gave these a shot, and honestly, I probably caught, for every 10 fish, I think 8 or 9 of the fish that I caught were actually on this bait. It's actually the scented Paddler Z in the Slam Shady color. These are actually has the Procure in it. That's what all that sauce is in there. And I will tell you, I don't know if it's because this is soaked and just like left in the package like this for a longer period of time. Maybe it's just a stronger scent. I do not know. I was putting Procure on my other paddler, my diesel minnows and everything like that. Still, these 8 to 9 times out of 10, they bit these over the other ones, even if I just had them all out, right? Um, I do think that since it's a lighter body and it actually has a more flimsier tail. I feel like that it has a lot more action, so that might have been part of it. It could be the scent. I do not know, but anyhow, they did catch more than the others. You'll see that it has the segmented body, which adds to the ability to get more action. I'm getting all this Procure all over me. It has a thinner tail, and since it has that Z-Man plastic, it actually doesn't tear as easy. Actually, it stays up intact. I didn't tear a single one during the tournament, to be honest. If anything, my line broke before I even lost the lure. So this Elastec, I guess, plastic that they use. It really does hold up to all that torture or the beating that the fish put it through. That thinner tail allows it to just give it so much action. It's so, yeah. Even on a slight drift, it has so much play. That's what I've actually really liked these. And you'll see in one of the videos, in the tournament videos, if you guys ever want to see it, one of the tournament videos, you'll actually see me unhooking a fish that I had caught already, and one of these are sitting behind me, just on the wide gap weighted hooks, right on one of these things, on a 16th ounce or 8th ounce. These are so light that they kind of suspend, and like I said, with these hooks here, it actually sits almost flat here. And it was almost suspending above the grass line, and me drifting or going down the current with the thin tail, I think it was barely kicking, and it had like almost like maybe a confused bait fish or something. I wasn't doing anything. I was still just hooking a fish, and that just got nailed right behind me. So I think that the major action on this is it just allows you to it just entices the fish. I feel like. So I think a combination of the scent and also the tail. I think it's a very very good product, and I'm loving it. I actually ended up I used the 5-inch in the tournament, but I did end up getting some 4-inch just to match the hatch. I guess the variety of bait fish that I'll be fishing around at various seasons. So 4-inch and 5-inch, I ended up getting those. Moving on, I mean that was the secret bait that I just no way I'm gonna go back out there without that bait anymore. To be honest, who knows? I mean, every season might be different, but yeah, that bait was awesome. Another thing that I wanted to get replacements for was for whatever reason, I had 3 gold spoons because I mean, people say gold spoons is what catches the sea trout, right? But I had 3 gold spoons. 2 of them got snapped or got taken by rays out of all things, and they were so big couldn't even see them. I mean, they just took off. But it was pretty clear that they were rays. But I lost two of the 3 of my gold spoons, so I wanted to get some more. I did find these. It's called the Aqua Dream lures. I actually saw it on the Salt Strong site. Um, I'm gonna give it a shot. I mean, it does have the rippled the face, so maybe it does give more of that flash. But I am liking these. At least the way it looks right now. The other spoons that I use are the Johnsons, the Johnson Gold Spoon, and there's a lure Jensen. It's the one with the little feather, but those are the ones I used the other time. But I'll give these a shot this year and see if it works out for me. Other than that, there's every new fishery needs a new arsenal, right? As far as gear, I mean, I guess that's the fisherman's mindset. But I personally believe that anything could be fine tuned to a specific type of water you fish. With that being said, with the new waters that I liked, I actually am going to be exploring and trying out a couple new rods this year and new reels. Reels, I actually just had a great deal on some Quantum, so I actually just got a couple of those. I could do a review for you guys if you want. It's just the Accura's Inshore spinning reels, but I ended up getting those just as backups, just in case, like one of my other like Stratics and stuff go out or something. But the two rods that I got were, uh, I just saw a great deal with them, and they're advertised everywhere. And I thought that if I'm able to get a buy one get one free as a replacement, or just get and they work out, I mean it's a great deal. Buy one get one free, right? I think so. The rods that I'm talking about are these here, actually. It is the sixgill Octant Inshore series rods. So sixgill has, I think it's a couple times a year. They have a buy one get one free. They actually have it going on now. I actually might be ending soon, but it's a buy one get one free deal. They run, this one in particular runs 170 a piece. So if I'm getting one free, that means it's $85 a piece. If just the whole purchase together, right? And I was thinking that if these were to break and it's $80 a piece, I feel like that's like an average decent price. I mean, and if it goes me like snapping these or breaking these or whatever, I won't be too heartbroken by it because of the deal that I'm getting for them, right? So I want to give it a shot, and honestly, I did not see any reviews for these Inshore rods, still 6 gill Octant rods. Um, but so I want to just give them a shot and see if it's actually a great deal or not. Maybe it's just not worth it. I don't know. I will tell you the first thing about this that I actually say a major plus is the people that are behind it. So what I mean by that is these the first delivery I got of these came in a tube that was snapped in half, the shipping tube, right? Not the rod, but the shipping tube. It was snapped in by half because of the crazy delivery services that we have these days. And I did not see any defect or damage to the rod per se, but it was clear that it was the tube was flopping around. The bagging around the rod was all kind of scuffed up and torn a little bit. But I gave the customer service a call, not really expecting anything, but I did want to kind of point out that it was shipped the way it was, just so that they're aware of it. But immediately they're saying, "Oh, there might be some internal damage, so we'll ship you out two brand new ones." I mean, and I told them that it did not look like it was damaged, but I had I had the same thought too, that sometimes you don't see the damage until, like, because it's on the inside of on the blanks and stuff like that. But they right off the bat say you might have micro fractures, you might have damages that you don't see. We'll get you sent out two new brand new ones, and they took care of it right away. That's a major plus. I feel like customer service really speaks loudly for how much I like a product, because they stand by, just try to make the customer happy, right? So that was awesome. That's the first experience I had with them, and it was great. Um, Now, as far as the quality of the product goes, looking at these here, I do notice that, I mean, it seems like there's a great products that they use. There's like Fuji guides. I forget what the real seats and all that are made out of, but I mean the guides are at least Fuji, so that's definitely a plus. I do see that the cork is not sitting like perfectly flush with the plastics. I do feel like it might wear and break away a little bit. But I mean, all in all, I mean everything seems to be in place pretty good. I don't see any major defects except for the cork not sitting flat. Now, one thing that I learned, I actually took a rod building class, and one thing I learned is that all rods have a spine. So I did do kind of the spine check on this, and the medium, it seems to be so what I mean by a spine is all rods have a certain rigid point on a rod, whether it be on the on one side of the blades could be a little bit more rigid. It's just how they wrap the rod. But when you do the spine test, essentially you want the guides to be sitting up like that, like, and the spine to be right underneath on the bottom part, right? Like, so you want the spine to be right on this bottom part right here. But sometimes the mass producers, they don't really worry about it too much, so they'll have an offset where the spine is kind of like down here, and if you and the guides would be off to the side, so it's not centered properly. So they're not lining up the guides to the spine. So that's what they told. I mean, even the more expensive rod builders, sometimes they do not spend the time to get it perfectly centered. So it's not just the cheaper companies that do that. So I did notice that. So when you kind of do this and kind of give it a slight flex, there's a way to test it. Don't just jam it into the ground. But when I'm doing the medium heavy, it seems like when that part where it locks down, when you pull it, bend it slightly, you'll feel it lock into place. If it's kind of off center and the spine's off the side, you'll feel it kind of pop. Like, I don't know if you'll see it here, but you might have seen it just rotate a little bit there, and it's rotating down to where the spine is. So with that being said, the medium heavy looks to be perfectly centered. So this is actually great. The medium rod, I got a medium heavy and a medium rod. I did the same thing with the medium rod. It does look to be a little bit twisted, whereas when I lock it into that spine there, the guides are off a little bit. So I mean, I fish with cheap products like a lot of my life, so I don't think it's gonna be terribly bad. But that is something already I noticed based on what I learned and my new expertise, just my lessons that I've learned. So I've actually realized that. 7'4" medium is rated for 8 to 14 pound test line, quarter to half ounce lures. The 7'4" medium heavy, the one I have in my hand here, is actually rated for 12 to 20 pound test line, half to 3/4 ounce range. So I think those are the main ranges that I fish. So I think it's a perfect fit. But I will definitely put these to the test. I mean, obviously it's got the nice split grip, the top lockdown for there. I sometimes am a fan of this, sometimes not. But because I sometimes realize when I hold it, it tends to come loose sometimes, but it's okay. I mean, it's not a deal breaker. I mean, I'm kind of, it's no major flaw or major like or dislike. But I did notice that sometimes when I hold it and fish, it tends to come loose sometimes. But not a deal breaker there. But yeah, it feels like a nice ride. I mean, it feels pretty comfortable. I'm not always a fan of the split grip, but I think that just weight reduction is definitely a plus. So we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. I mean, target species: flounder, redfish, striper, sea trout, all your inshore species. I'll be going with this year, so I'll see how they perform. Put it to the test. I'm one of those guys that aren't always the best at cleaning and whatever, but it's I'll really beat it up and see how it goes, just like I normally do with everything else. So I'll give you my honest review whenever I get it on the water and put it to the test. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I'm looking forward to another year. I'm already signed up for two of the tournaments this year that I fished last year. We'll definitely do coverage on that, and I'm trying to get out to do some new things with our channel here. So hopefully we start pumping out that new content for you guys. But other than that, I'll definitely catch you guys on the next one, and yeah, hopefully it's when I'm catching some fish. All right, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one.